Hello. Let's try to create a feedback loop effect with TiXL. In TiXL, when you want to add a new operator, you use tab, and then you type the name of the operator. And if you type feedback, you can see fluid feedback, and advanced feedback 2. All those operators are based on the feedback loop, but they are all using use texture reference. So we'll need this one. And let's start by creating some visuals. So I will add some points. So let's use radial point. And let's draw some points. And let's add a render target. And I will press P to pin the render target. And we should see the points. Okay, so I want bigger points. Maybe this is a bit small. Can I increase the size? Settings, interface. Let's see how the parameters are looking. I think it's better. Okay, so we have a bunch of points. I will draw less points. Let's say 16. And increase their size. I will also add a camera. And transform the points. I will use click here to add a rotation, and let's try animvex 3 and increase the amplitude by 180. Okay. Let's move the camera a bit like this. And now we have this animation. And we need to use the texture reference, and render target is the only one to have a texture reference. So we'll connect the texture reference to the render target, like this. And now we are drawing, the render target is drawing those points, is rendering them. And then the texture is going through this link to the texture reference. So I need to use the texture output of texture reference. So just hovering this little triangle, then click and select texture. And then I can click and add a layer 2D. And also I will click here and add execute, because we need to bring this texture into our render target again. But here this camera is already using this input. That's why we use execute in order to plug the camera here. So the render, those points will be drawn over the layer 2D. And then let's connect the execute to render target. And now we have this. So what I can do is to set the layer 2D color and reduce its alpha channel. And we see this happening. And what else could we do? We can have fun with the color of the point. So let's use HSP to color. Let's set the saturation to 1. And let's connect it to the color input of draw points. And let's animate the U parameter of HSB with anim value. and we get this cool effect. So remember, if we only, this is without the feedback loop. Texture is going here, coming out here, and then we draw it behind. Of course, maybe we can draw it all over. Let's try. So that's interesting. It's another effect. Of course, if we set the alpha channel to full, we're drawing over and over the same thing. So let's keep like this. We'll reorder this one here. So now we can have fun with layer 2D, for example, with the scale. Like this. Or maybe we can rotate. We can add a bunch of effects here. So here in this link, I think if I can click and add a blur. Now we are blurring the texture before drawing it. So we get this effect. And voila. Maybe instead of changing the color of draw points, we can change the color of layer 2D. And set its alpha channel a bit dimmer. This. So we still have white points, but we change their color later in the loop. Yeah, you can do a lot of crazy things now. This was my tutorial about how to create a feedback loop. Let's pin this one. Yeah, the feedback loop. As you can see here, I'm using grain and blur. What else could we use? Let's go back to this one. Let's press P to pin it. We could use displays. Tab, displays. Let's connect the displays here. Maybe you can arrange it like this. And for the displays, we need a FX texture, so I will use shard noise. And we need to increase the displacement. And let's animate shard noise with time. I'm not 100% sure about this effect. It's interesting if we animate the scale. So maybe we can animate the displacement. Displacement offset. Yeah, not sure. Voilà.